Life is hard. This show, The Southern Style Medium, is all about understanding your life struggles, why they happen, and how to fix them. Get ready to be enlightened with life tools and free readings each week by renowned psychic medium, life coach, and motivational speaker, Sharon Pugh, fondly known as the Southern Style Medium, for her warm, humorous, and tell-it-like-it-is approach. And now your host, Sharon Pugh.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Southern Style Medium. I'm your host, Sharon Pugh. I hope you're having a great day, whether you're at work, you're at home, driving in the car, doesn't matter. But before I get started, I want to make sure that I give out my contact information. If you would like to book a reading with me, visit my website at sharonpugh.com. or the southernstylemedium.com. You can also find me on Facebook under Sharon Pugh. You can find me on Twitter. I am currently about a month booked out on prepaid readings, but I don't want to let that scare you off. Sometimes I have cancellations. Sometimes clients need to move, an appointment out. So get on the waiting list, but I do make time to do instant readings, and this is a pay by the minute, so you can control how much you pay. You can find me at Best American Psychics and Best Psychic Directory. Just look for my profile with the green button on. But so let's get to today's show. I'm so excited about this show. This is my second show, and I'm still trying to work out the kinks and simplify things, a little bit better. But each Thursday, I'm going to talk about something that I think, you guys can really relate to and get excited and you use in your everyday life. And after the 20-minute break, if you call in, I'll start taking your calls. So if you're listening and you do want to speak to me, go ahead and call in and get into the queue. That would be great because there's only 6 lines. And once those fill, you'll have to wait for for a caller to get done with the reading before I can get you in the queue. If nobody calls in, then I'm just going to keep talking it. And again, not that everybody from the South talks slow, but I don't talk very fast, which is why, this basic psychic real estate series is going to be divided up into different parts. But if you want to call in, I don't ask for your full name, and the only thing that I get is your first name and area code. So please don't be shy and call in because I love, love, love doing readings on the radio show. So today I'm going to take you guys through a workshop about psychic real estate. And again, I'm not going to be able to get to everything today. So this is part 1. And so let me start with psychic real estate is basically everything energy and some things physical about buying and selling your home, or just about living in your home with peace and harmony, because this is our sanctuary. This is where we come home and we unwind after the day. So it needs to have that peace and harmony vibration to it. It's so important. And I came up with different categories that I want to use to do the psychic real estate series. And I divided it into different areas. And it's basically architecture, building materials, land history, numerology. And I'm not a numerologist. I don't do numerology, but you'll find out why I use numerology. Relationships. If you're married, if you're going through a divorce, you live alone and want that relationship to come into your life, it's so important on an energetic level. the birth of a baby, the new soul incarnating into this life, bringing that baby home to bringing that baby home, it's so important. A terminal illness of a loved one, and you may have a spouse or a parent that you want to bring home, and it's important that the vibration that they're in stays consistent. Mental health, different types of mental health, issues, whether you have a child that has autism or Asperger's, or you have somebody that has Alzheimer's. It's so important for your home energy to be balanced and be healthy. And the last thing is, paranormal activity. So today I'm going to really start at the foundation. So I'm going over land history and architecture first. So the reason why I'm doing this is the first thing that you're going to start out with is where you're going to build or buy your home. And then you're going to start looking for that kind of style and design for your new and existing home. And land history is probably the most important thing that you want to put on that checklist. And the first thing that I want to start out with is never, ever build on or near Native American burial ground. They don't like it, and they take great offense to it. And I've seen more paranormal activity on Native American burial ground than I have anywhere else. And I have traveled all over the United States investigating paranormal activity. Look for hooks in a river. Get out a map and see how far a river or a creek is from where you want to build a home or where that home that you're thinking about buying is. And these aren't curves, regular wide natural curves of the river. They're very, very sharp hooks. And to me, it looks like a J shape. And this would be where Indians fish. They built their villages and raised their children. So it's safe to say that Indians were going to bury their loved ones somewhere near where they lived. The other thing about Native American burial grounds are what we've probably seen on TV, and archaeologists that dig around them are the mounds. And mounds are, and I hope I can describe this where you get a general kind of idea of what I'm talking about, but they're raised formations that stick out of the ground. And, because I know what they look like, they stick out like a sore thumb to me, but they usually have 2 long sides and 2 short sides at the top and the bottom. And so if you find out, kind of jumping back to if you have an existing home and you find out that, that home is already on or near a burial site or even a hook in the river, I don't want you to pack your bags and just get up and walk out of your house. I don't want you to do that at all. So if you're not having any paranormal activity, just leave it alone. Because sometimes when you don't have anything energy-wise happening in your home and you bring in paranormal investigators and they bring in their K2 meters and infrared cameras and digital recorders, because I've done it myself, you start saging and doing blessing rituals, that can actually cause activity. So, that old saying, you don't want to try and fix what isn't broken. But if you are living on, a hook in the river or a burial mound, and you're having some really strange things happening in your home, then absolutely find a shaman. I always recommend when you're dealing with, land history that has Native American, um, you know, burial grounds, or that's where they lived, a shaman is the best person to come in and bless the land and the home. And it's all about, asking for forgiveness, asking for permission, and making amends. So it's not about cleansing or clearing the land, because the Native American energy is there and it's going to stay. So probably on next week's show, I'll be talking about things that you can do yourself outside of working with a shaman. Um, Alrighty, let me go in, and I'm trying to keep these things kind of, in my mind as a checklist, but another one that you should really pay attention to is whether or not a historical battle has occurred. And this battle doesn't even need to be where you live, just close by. But the good thing about historical battles and why so many homes are built on or near them, and they don't have paranormal activity, is because that kind of energy, from what I have from my own personal investigations, is residual or leftover imprinted energy. And it's basically just that. It's leftover, imprinted. It plays itself out over and over again. So if you're sitting in your living room, and this would kind of freak me out a little bit too, but if you see a uniform spirit go through your room, and it happens to be the same time every day, and this is going to sound corny, but say it's every Friday at 2 o'clock, you know, that is residual energy. If you hear gunshots or you smell gunpowder, that's residual leftover energy. On very rare occasions, you buying or building a home where a historical battle took place, sometimes hauntings do occur. And the difference between the residual energy of the historical battle and the active haunting is how you feel in the home. If physically things are happening to you, you're feeling cold spots, or you're feeling cold and it's 90 degrees outside and you don't have your air conditioning on, you have unusual bruising, being woken up in the middle of the night, feeling like somebody is watching you, this is when you do want to bring in somebody to bless and clear your home using sage, holy water, or whatever in the heck you want to use. Because, I teach, workshops on, how to bless and clear your home. And it truly is the intention of the cleansing and the blessing that rids the home of that activity. So kind of I'm going to jump gears a little bit, because this series is so long and I want to try and cover as much as I can. So this is just something that I want to touch on briefly. It's not that important, but it's important enough that I want to mention. Railroad tracks, believe it or not. There's thousands of miles of railroad tracks across the United States and in other parts of the world. No biggie. But through my paranormal research and working near railroad tracks, I found that those tracks that go back to the 1800s and early 1900s, people were experiencing a spike in paranormal activity. And, this even had me a little bit stumped. I don't know what the reason is, but I do work with, people as a paranormal investigator, and I tell them, if you're planning on moving, selling your home, at some point, if it's not now, if it's in the future, find out where those tracks are and try and move at least, 2 to 3 miles out. Um, all right, this next, ley lines. I'm just going to jump to ley lines, and it's not Lay, it's Ley lines. And these are really cool. This is the most fascinating thing about the land history that I love to work with. But they're basically ancient trails which are connected through dense forestry, mountains, or open fields. And I think of them I don't want to say I think of them, but they are historical trails where significant, and it's usually very emotional events, hardships, where those occurred, some which now may be monuments like Stonehenge. Also the Trail of Tears. I'm not a history buff. I don't know that much about the Trail of Tears, but the Trail of Tears starts near me, and I know that's where they gathered up Indians and made them walk for hundreds of miles, many which, passed away along the path. And so the Trail of Tears started from one location and ended in another. So let's say you take, every significant event that happened over 1,000,000 years. Well, okay, all right, I'm exaggerating a little bit. So maybe not 1,000,000 years, but spread out a map and then draw straight lines from one event to the next. It'll kind of look like a spider web, and anywhere you see a straight line is a ley line. But some ley lines are curved, but only in mountainous areas. So I'm going to take this a little step further, kind of in the beginning, why I'm calling this a little bit of a workshop. So you may have to, play this show back a little bit and go, okay, what did she say? But, inside of those ley lines are vortexes, which is a swirling of energy, kind of like a tornado, but the vortexes actually spin in the opposite direction. And these vortexes can be good energy and not so good energy. And I have to say that North Carolina has the best ley lines. I actually did a Best American Psychic retreat in North Carolina, and where we stayed and we did the retreat had the most amazing ley lines to it. But we are getting ready to go to break, and like I said, what I don't get to today, I will pick up and start with next week.
Conscious media for conscious minds. OMTimes. OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Tune in to The Practical Intuitive, Mind, Body, Spirit for the Real World with me, host Robin Fritz, Mondays at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 Eastern. I'll cover personal and business intuition, animal communication, mediumship, space clearing, past life regression, shamanic insights, energy healing, soul choice, and more, all to help you tap your own intuitive and healing skills. No ifs, ands, or buts.
My name is Meera Batra, and this is How I Live United. Many families have come to America for a better life. I advocate for these families with United Way. United Way empowers them to see opportunities available. We help them get involved with their kids, schools, and network within the community. My name is Meera Batra. I help families see opportunity and succeed. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Hi, welcome back to the Southern Style Medium radio show on OMTimes. I left off with the ley lines in North Carolina, and I promised when I created the show that I would, talk about something that I think would be a great life tool for you. So where I have left off, I'm going to continue next week, but I promised that if I had callers, I would take them. So let me end with the ley lines in North Carolina, and I want to take a Carrie from Mobile, Alabama.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing okay.
Okay, all right. All right, so what would you like to ask me?
I'm not really sure. Polly arranged for me to call in today, and
okay.
yes, to talk about Andy. And
oh my goodness. Okay. All right.
yeah.
Let me, so I want you to just sit back and
Okay.
listen to what I'm going to give you, because it's like whoosh, he just popped in. And so I just want you to say yes, or no, if this makes sense to you. And if you feel like there's something that you want to jump in and ask me, I absolutely want you to do that.
Okay.
Andy was your boyfriend. You guys were living together, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. It's the first message that that I'm getting is who you, and I hope this makes sense to you, is I brought him to you. He brought you someone that you're going to grow with and be in a relationship with.
Wow.
But I don't see that, I'm seeing it as a friendship. Does this make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Know that this relationship is going to go extremely slow. And I'm seeing as we get closer to wintertime that the relationship is going to pick up, a little bit. And you're nowhere near. I'm getting a lot of wounds that, that need to heal, and a lot of guilt that you need to release. And do you mind if I give you what I'm getting, no matter how difficult it is for you?
No, I don't mind.
Okay. All right. He took his own life, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I sometimes I get things because I do work with law enforcement. I currently work with a group of mediums that work directly with law enforcement. And so when I remote view, I go back to, what had happened. And I'm getting that he had a mental illness. He was very depressed, had a lot of anger. He was so angry.
Mm-hmm.
Does this mean anything to you? I just get anger. Yes. Okay. All right.
Yes.
And I get alcohol, drinking, lots of drinking. And if this doesn't make any sense, please feel free to tell me, but I'm going to give you what I get. I don't hold anything back. If Spirit gives it to me, I'm going to give it to you. Why am I seeing pills, like white pills?
I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't ever see any.
Okay. All right. I'm just seeing them and I want to give you that.
Okay.
It's important that you know that he he's right on the threshold of crossing over. And
Okay.
it's as he looks behind him, he can see, God, Jesus, archangels, spirit guides, loved ones, and they're all, surrounding him and going, okay, whenever you're ready, we will receive you. He's very calm, he's beaming, he's smiling, and
Okay.
he says that at nighttime you will feel something on you, like a touch, like you lay there and you feel him, sometimes touching your head or touching your arm. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay.
That's him.
Thank you for. That's him. That's him. Yes.
Okay.
And because he is, when I work with, our loved ones that have committed suicide, and even those that haven't committed suicide and they've passed by accident or terminal illness, they sometimes hesitate in crossing over. They feel that they need to make amends and they need to make sure that we're okay. And so
Mhm.
it's important that and don't question that when you feel him touching you, that it's you. It's so important, and I'm so glad that you called in today because it's so important that you. I don't want you to open yourself up. I don't want you to look for him, and I don't want you to, ask for him to come in. He's there.
Okay.
But you've got to give him permission to cross over because I'm seeing that you've started the healing process. You
Mhm.
are in a new relationship, even though I don't see that it's very romantic.
Mhm.
He's done his part. He's brought you someone new, and it's not to take his place, but you do need to let him know that, you know what, I'm okay. And I will be okay. And I do like it when you come and visit me, but you can cross over because even though he crosses over, he can he can communicate with you better, in the realm of heaven than he can on
Okay.
the outside of the realm of heaven. So that's very important, and you
Okay.
need to go into meditation and ask him, please. What was his first name again?
Andy.
And Andy?
Why? Mhm.
Okay, all right. It's. Is there anything that you would like to ask him?
Um. Is he staying back because of me?
No, no. He's staying. He
It's just a.
hasn't fully crossed over because he needs to make sure. And it doesn't mean that he's not in transition. Yes, I
Mhm.
have a window into heaven and I can see things, but I only get glimpses of that. So him, standing on the outside of the realm may not mean that he's earthbound. He's not earthbound by any means. It's just more of he needs to make sure that he brings you that person that you're going to be with, that you're okay, and that that he's okay because I see him. And I know that this is a very difficult. He used a gun.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh boy. Okay. Um.
In front of me.
Ah. Yeah. Yeah. It was. It was a very passionate. He was angry at the time, and he didn't really understand what he was doing. And then he went, oh crap, what did I just do?
Mm.
Okay, I'm looking at myself. I'm not here anymore. I can't come back. And he wants you to know that it wasn't done to hurt you. It wasn't because he's angry at you. There's so much love that he's giving off. And, this, some people will say, if you commit suicide, you're going to hell. No, you don't. If you do it out of a spite or trying to hurt somebody, you will just come back and you do it again. He was very, mentally sick. And do you understand the anger, jumping from the anger to sadness to frustration to confusion? And he had problems with relating to people. He was angry at everybody. He was angry at his family. He was angry at you. And then he was angry one minute, and then he loved you so much the next. Does that mean anything to you?
That makes perfect sense. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So that's clear cut. Hello, there's something wrong. And your part, him exiting the way that he did is a big blue dot on your soul contract. I promise you that. Because you're growing spiritually from this. And even though it's so uncomfortable and it's miserable and it hurts and you still think about it, it's part of your spiritual growth. And, as a kind of switching gears here a little bit, you are going to come out of this with so much power, so much personal power. And it's important that you don't, you're not going to forget him, but it's so important that you take this experience and you help others that are going through the same thing. So I want to see you become an advocate. I want to see you help others that have had this happen.
Okay.
So will you promise to do that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'd like to work with you a little bit more because there's some very personal messages that he has for you that I don't really want to do them on radio. So will you reach me outside of the show?
Okay. Like message or?
Yeah, message. You can, my phone number is 404-437-5336.
Yes, I would love to hear any message that he has.
Okay. These are just a little bit more on a personal level, and I'd like to do them, outside.
Privately.
Yeah, privately outside of the show.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you for, for calling in. You're welcome, sweetheart. Okay. Have a great day.
Thanks. You too.
Okay. All right. I think I've got a Sherry from Texas.
Yes. This is Cherie.
Hi, Cherie. How are you?
Hi, Sharon. I'm doing great. What about you?
I'm doing good. As you know, I'm on my second show, so I'm trying to be, to be a teacher and then a psychic medium, take calls, but I'm having so much fun with it. This is great. So, what can I do for you today?
So I had a question. This is something I've never really kind of, inquired about before. Several years back, I actually lost my niece. And, that was really, it was my niece. So, my younger sister's first child, that was really a defining experience for me in my life. For some reason, I was just really close to her. And I just wanted to know if you could look into that to see, how she was doing or if she was around. And
Okay, what's her first name?
Madison.
Okay, this was a sudden passing?
Yes, that's exactly right.
Okay. Yikes. I get metal to metal or a sudden was car accident or what is a metal to metal?
The car is because the way I remembered it, and it really transpired in my brain is we were taking a trip to visit family, so we spent a lot of time in the car, and her health started to decline. It was like an 8-hour drive in the car, and I was actually driving, and me and my sister were going to visit family. So in the car on our way there, she started to run a fever.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I'm getting that there was something that she contracted and went downhill very quickly. And again, I tell people, yes, I am, a psychic medium, and I can connect with the physical body and I can connect with spirit, but I'm not God. So I almost get like a meningitis thing.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean anything to you?
She had sickle cell anemia, and she had gotten, I guess it was a virus, she had gotten sick. So of course, when you have that kind of condition, when you get sick, it easily can escalate. And so it was really quick and sudden because she had gotten sick before. This was around Christmas time. So when we made it to my grandparents, and she had labor breathing all of a sudden. So we took her in, and she never made it out. That was on Christmas Day. So that was really a really traumatizing experience.
Okay. All right. I've got her because I'm seeing her in a hospital setting, and she is having trouble breathing. So when we come back from break, I want you to stay with me. And after Cherie, I'm going to take a call from Iowa from a Diane. So stay tuned. I'll be right back.
The Real Conscious Connection. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Have you wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
Hi, I'm Kelly Fox, host and astrologer of The Astrology Show. Each week, I'll give you access to the current transits, which are a valuable tool that provide astrological information to help unlock the potential each of us has. Understanding the stars can help steer us in the right direction to make better informed choices. So if you're wondering what's going to happen in your week ahead, be sure to tune in to The Astrology Show for guidance, Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time.
Melissa from Michigan. I work an extra part-time job serving lunch at my child's school, but I still can't afford to put food on our table.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Okay, welcome back to the Southern Style Medium. I'm your host, Sharon Pugh. I have Cherie from Texas on the phone, and we were talking about your niece, Madeline, correct? Madison.
Correct. Madison.
Okay. All right. While we were on break, I was doing some automatic writing, and this is kind of a form of communication. When loved ones come through, I will write messages. And although I don't see her as a small child, she talks about and this may not make sense to you, but I'd love for you to share this radio show with her family. And a few things that I got was My Pretty Pony, or My Pretty Pony, where the mane comes out, hair. Did she like doing hair?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Because I get braiding, like braiding, of the mane. Was she like 13 or 16?
Madison, she was
Yes.
almost 3, I think. Yeah.
Wow.
Like
Okay, she was
I cannot
3
believe
years.
it's been that long. Yeah.
Okay, 3 years old. Okay, I'm like, wow. Okay, she's an old soul. I was okay. Sometimes, when they're showing me, because I wrote down, 13, then I wrote down 16. It's like, okay, they're trying to show me the 3. Okay, so the My Pretty Pony, doing the hair, and she was very quiet, but she was the one that, if she was quiet, she was up to something. She was thinking about something. It's kind of like, okay, where is she? And
Yes.
and also, Cherie, know that up until the age of 4, we have the ability to retract our soul contract and go back home and redo our soul contract. And that's what I see her doing. And there, as I look at her face, she has this kind of smirky grin, almost like even if she did something naughty, she would have this smirky grin on her face, and then you couldn't be mad at her. She was just...
Yes, that's her.
Okay. So, know that pink and purple, does that mean anything?
Yeah, she was definitely a girly girl. She did love My Little Pony, and she had a bunch of dolls she carried around with her, and it was all about the hair. And she was definitely an older soul. I will say that it's really odd because we had a really big connection, and this sounds strange, but for some reason I didn't feel like she was just kind of like part of the family or blended well with the family. Like, it's kind of like I almost knew that, she was just different, and it didn't feel permanent, in my brain as far as all the other, babies that have come into the family. It was just like they just blended so well in, but she was just different, and we were just so close. So that really, really affected me, which is why I really don't talk about it very often.
Well, I want you to. I really want you to, you and your family talk about her, because she is an old soul. And the reason you don't feel that connection is because she wasn't part of your soul family. She came in to create that challenge. And, and she just is, again, almost like the young man, who passed away with the last caller. She's beaming. And so watch out for her. Usually when I do a reading, you'll find that for like the next 48 hours, you'll have this activity. So pay attention to, your hair. If you feel something with your hair, pay attention to that. But she is fine. She really is. And I want to thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you so much. You're wonderful. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome, sweetie. Okay, have a great day.
You too.
Okay, we have Diane from Iowa.
Hi.
Hi,
Hi there.
Diane.
Hi, Sharon. How are you today?
I'm good. As you can see, I'm busy, but I'm just doing what I'm doing what I love. You are just a big
Fabulous.
ball of energy.
I know, I'm so excited. I can't believe I get to talk with you.
Oh, I feel like I'm going to jump out of my chair. It's like, oh my gosh. What? You got to hold me down. All right, honey, what do you want to ask me?
Well, I guess it's up to you, but when you were talking earlier about the Lakota or about the Native American burial grounds, I used to actually live in a Victorian house that had 3 apartments, and I was the only one that lasted. Everyone would leave the place all the time, and these guys would come and turn on, back when CD players were big, they set on about 3 in the morning and play with me, and I was so used to them that they didn't really scare me as much, but they really were kind of tough on some of the other tenants.
You're like a tank. We're going to scare everybody out of here, and they're like, oh my gosh. Okay, Diane's not going anywhere, so we're just going to have to make amends with her and be nice to her.
Yeah, they tried to play with me, but I just pretty much got to know them, and I didn't really, I just got used to it, and people that would leave the apartment would come back later. They never really befriended me until after they were somehow evicted by the ghost, so to speak. But they'd come back and they'd talk to me, and I'd say, "Oh yeah, well that's this ghost," and and they were so happy because they thought they were losing their minds. And I was like, no, it's just the Native Americans. This is kind of a rough spot here, and they're not always nice. But and we even had a guy from a Lakota guy try to come in to move them on, and they would not move, especially the one in the basement. But I did have a remedy where they put sea salt, I think it was salt and beef jerky on pieces of paper around my bed so I could sleep at night at least.
Oh my goodness. And that's what I was talking about earlier. They're not going to leave. You can't smudge, sage, or move them. They're there to stay. You either got to make amends with them or you're going to be the one to go. So it's not like, Mr. John, who was a farmer here.
Right.
So
right.
it's,
so
you have to ask forgiveness. It's not about going in and going, okay, you're out of here, because they don't play. You showed them disrespect. So I'm actually seeing this Victorian home that you lived in, and I'm seeing it. And this is something that I'm going to be talking about next week, and it's a third eye window. And I'm going to go into, because I like I said in the very beginning, I don't talk very fast. I'm from the South. So I'm going to get what I can out, and then I'm going to pick it up next week. But the house itself held beautiful energy. What happened is the tenants that lived there did things that showed the Native American Indians disrespect. They didn't like what they were doing.
Oh, yeah.
So that makes sense to you?
Makes total sense. In fact, the ones that would rent out the back apartment below me, I was up on the top floor, but the small apartment in the back were always, I felt like it was a testing ground for people. They were usually third-generation psychics, and they were really rough back there. One of the gals I think she was from Chicago that rented that place, I found out after she moved out that she was practicing African voodoo, and I said, oh, no, you don't do that.
Oh,
you don't do that.
Okay.
Stuff, honey. No wonder they got rough with you, So,
okay, thank you for validating that, because I was hearing it wasn't so much that they were there, it's what they were doing. And Yeah, no amount of forgiveness, but I get you're so grounded. You're so grounded to the earth. You're so grounded spiritually that
Thank
you
you.
could adapt anywhere. And
Thank
you
you.
know, I see that you're very respectful. You're very respectful for space. You're not only for your own, but for, other people's space as well. So you're not going to
Yes,
have a problem.
thank you. Yes, I'm always careful because I'm so sensitive energetically that I really pull my energy in so that I'm not spewing or people don't realize when they do that. Honestly, it's very unconscious, I think, for a lot of people. But even if a spirit is coming into my place, I say respectfully, I ask them to leave. And they definitely respond to that much more than getting angry at them or shaming them for being in your place, because we don't know if they were here on the land before us or not. So it's always good to show anyone respect and honor in asking to leave your own house, because you really don't know if they were there before you.
Was this house keeps popping out, and it may not have been blue, the color blue, but I see the color blue.
Well, see, my condo is blue. The condo that I own in the same town is blue with white, but the haunted house was downtown on a main street next to the library, and it was a mint green. It was a 2-story. I lived upstairs. I had a flat roof out back where I could go through this little window and lay out. It was very enchanting, wooden floors. It could have been on the Historical Society for funding, but there was so much paranormal activity in that house. So I just adjusted to it, and I think being part Native American, part Iroquois, they kind of, I think they accepted me, and it was easier for me than others, I think.
They did, because you showed the respect that the other ones didn't. And I even get to this day that house still exists and people still come and go from it. So the the blue house is your house that
It's
I'm
my
seeing.
condo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's
Yeah.
that's very close to a graveyard, so you might see spirits around there too.
They're
but it's
on
not built
the
on one.
Yeah, no, there are spirits on the outside, but nothing, very good energy. I feel like you've got some, some things that happen that you can't explain, but nothing that, where I would go, okay, all right, Diane, I'm on my way. I'm bringing a team and we'll take care of this. It's absolutely, beautiful energy. And by the way, going back to the Victorian home, there was a Jeff or a Jeffrey that was watching you quite a bit.
Oh, a man, a human that was watching me, a regular.
I know.
A spirit or?
No, in the Victorian home, I get a male spirit, not an actual, earthbound real person, but a spirit, and I get the name
Really?
Jeff or Jeffrey.
Oh, wow. Well, there were so many spirits. Like at times I could smell like a newborn baby. At times I could smell cherry tobacco. Someone that I knew actually had recently died that was a Ghostbuster up in Milwaukee. And I think he might have came to visit me about a week after he died. But I would get different spirits it almost felt like a vortex where it would bring in different spirits.
I can absolutely see that. And, to this, but I also get this gratefulness that that you give off, almost like you have an altar or you give back to spirit.
Oh yeah, I had a Katina doll that I kept on my dresser, and actually one night, a friend of mine had just gone back to Colorado. His dad was dying of Parkinson's, and his dad used to work on a Hopi Indian reservation, and this guy was dying. He was an old high school friend's father, but I said, be sure to call me when you get into Denver to make sure that you get home okay, I said to him. And about 10 minutes before he called, I had lit a candle and next to the Katina doll for his dad and said some prayers, and I had some flowers there, and I woke up 10 minutes before my friend called, and lo and behold, this is only the second time I've seen a full-fledged spirit that showed himself to me, but it was a Native American man with long black hair, and he had bib overalls on, believe it or not, with no shirt underneath. Very strong man, and he was holding the Katina doll looking at me. It was the most incredible experience.
Wow. Thank
beautiful.
you. Diane, I want to thank you for calling in. You are so fascinating, and we have come to the end of the show for the Southern Style Medium. And I will pick up where I left off next week, and we will take calls. We will talk about interesting things. You guys have a great week. Thank you.
Sharon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.